Hey kids, this is MotherMantiss. Mass Effect Legendary is releasing on May 14th, and there's a lot of information starting to pop up online about the game by content creators who are a lot more accomplished than I am, although I think I might be the oldest one. Anyway, here are 10 things that I think you need to know about and decide pretty much right as you're getting into the game. Within a couple of minutes of getting into the game, you're going to want to know what direction you're going to go with these items. So without further ado, here they are. Hey, it's the next morning. I just wanted to pop in here real quick and remind you that any video that's talking about a game before it comes out is probably veering into spoiler territory. So, use common sense. I'll give you a quick rundown of the classes so you kind of have an idea. There's the soldier. This is a pretty much straight-on soldier. It's probably the most canonical choice for what Shepard was meant to be in the lore. I think they are the only ones that can use assault rifles early in the game. There's the engineer. The engineers deploy drones, and they generally stay back from the main action, and they use their drones and different powers to supplement the fight with tech powers and weaken shields to break down armor. There's the adept. The adept uses their biotic powers to control the choke points and to take enemies briefly out of play so that you can pick them off easily. There's the vanguards, which are kind of a super soldier. They're like intense melee players, big, heavy, intense combat, close quarters. They're kind of a high risk, high reward type of a fighter. There's the sentinel, which is kind of a mix of tech and biotic. They have kind of a special armor. They have some biotic power. They're super versatile fighters. And there's the infiltrator, which are basically snipers. They can go invisible briefly, and when they're using a scoped rifle, they can slow down gameplay for just a few seconds. The next item I think you really have to think about is you need to decide what kind of experience you want early on, like right away. And what I mean by this is, do you want your game to unfold organically, where you make your choices in the moment and deal with the consequences however they unfold? Or do you want to get an optimal playthrough where you know you're going to get a particular outcome to a mission or even to the whole series? And the reason I say this is because you need to decide whether it's going to bother you to have scenes play out where you're not able to get the result you want, and you might even get results that make you really unhappy for a particular mission. So Mass Effect has a lot of content you'll play through, and the mechanics of the game make it very possible to find yourself in a situation where a mission is ending with losses that you really don't like, or outcomes that make you super unhappy. On the other hand, you only have one chance at a first playthrough, so maybe you want to go in blind and just face the consequences of the decisions that you make in an organic and sort of more authentic fashion. That's a really authentic approach. It's completely up to you. I know for myself, I figure I have enough consequences in my real life that I have to face, so I always looked up certain outcomes so that I could ensure that I was getting the type of playthrough that I wanted, but it's totally up to you. This is kind of just a practical tip, but one mistake I made the first time I played through was buying weapons from the vendors at the Citadel. Don't do that. Don't buy weapons from the vendors, except for maybe metagel and grenade upgrades and the little model ships that Shepard can put in their cabin. There's nothing you can buy at the Citadel that is comparable or better than what you're going to pick up and loot during the game. After a big mission and you upgrade your own firepower and defense, make sure that none of your squad mates are lagging in firepower or upgrades or defense. And then the rest of it just turn into Omnigel or just sell. Mass Effect contains a morality system that's going to push you towards Paragon or Renegade depending on your actions and dialogue choices in certain situations. And the trilogy contains continuity that's going to carry the effect of those decisions throughout the entire series. In fact, the fate of Squad mates, side characters, and sometimes whole communities can depend on whether you have decided to play as a Paragon type character or a Renegade type character. In fact, without giving any spoilers, the ending to Mass Effect 2 can have wildly different outcomes depending on whether you have decided to play as a Paragon or a Renegade type character. So it's really better to just lean into one or the other. And if you want to experience the other side, then just do a different playthrough. You really should play every choice like it's going to matter in the game, as it often does. You're going to want to go out of your way to choose the charm or intimidate specific response and action every time you can. The quicker you max it out, the less you have to worry about whether it's high enough when you need to use it on your next mission. Specific to Mass Effect 2, you want to do all the loyalty missions and every side mission you can before you go to the final quest. The final quest in Mass Effect 2 is literally referred to as the suicide mission. So you want to get all the resources, buy all the upgrades, do all the quests. Unless you're willing to lose one of your main companions, don't do the final mission until you're sure you have everything under control. For those of you who are interested in romance, there are plenty of romance options in Mass Effect. Some of the characters are only romanceable for either male or female version of Shepard, but there are a few characters who are romanceable by either. Some relationships will carry through all three games. Certain characters are not romanceable in early games, but will be romanceable in later games. It can be fun to play it by ear and just see how things are going to unfold with one character or another. But if you want to make sure that you can romance a specific character, I would encourage you to look up how to play, what dialogue responses to give, what missions to make sure that you do in order to make sure that you can succeed with that character. If you miss the right dialogue or loyalty mission, you will be friend-zoned forever. So there's a lot of guides online. I encourage you to check those if that's important to you. Primarily beginning with Mass Effect 2, the series has loyalty missions that are available for every character on your team. These missions are important for several reasons, so don't pass them up even if a couple of them seem kind of long. For starters, I think you unlock some special powers by doing the loyalty missions, but more importantly, doing the loyalty missions can be the difference between life and death for some main characters. If you want to have the best chance at having everybody survive the later missions, do the loyalty missions. You should be prepared to cry. Okay, maybe this is only me. I found Mass Effect to be a very emotional game. Some characters that you have gotten attached to are going to die. Even favorite characters are not safe. So depending on which morality choices you have made earlier in the game, some deaths will become inevitable. But some can be avoided. My best advice to you would be to save your game often in case you are very unhappy with the way something unfolds. My biggest tip, don't feel pressured to play on a higher difficulty. More and more as time goes on, people seem to be focusing nowadays on competitive ranking ladders and bragging rights about playing on insanity difficulty. The combat in Mass Effect is fun, but what makes Mass Effect great is its narrative and its world building and its character development. That's what defines this trilogy. If that's what you really want to experience, don't hesitate to leave the combat on normal or even story mode. People who want to be judgy because you don't play every game on insanity difficulty have forgotten that games are supposed to be fun. You can't let other people define your experiences. Wow, I'm getting a little preachy there at the end. Anyway, that's my list. I hope you found it valuable, and if you did, I hope that you will like or subscribe. Thanks a lot and enjoy your day.